Are you upset that E3 got canceled?
And how soon is too soon for a remake?
Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Nerd News Podcast, starring Tyson Cox and Tyler Waltz.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerd News. My name is Tyler Waltz, and with me
is Tyson Cox.
And we're going to be talking about E3 in this segment.
Yeah, we are. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. It's kind of
Nice.
weird that E3 kind of just got canceled out of nowhere.
It was like kind of at the buzzer, right? Like,
Yeah, and the more I thought about it, the more I guess it kind of made sense.
yeah. So for those of you tuning in who may not know, E3 is officially canceled. It was just a rumor on some weird website at first, and then it quickly the cat got let out of the bag, and E3 was officially canceled. They cited lack of interest.
Yeah, the lack of interest, which kind of makes sense. So, did you ever really follow E3 as an event?
I always wanted to go.
Same.
Then PAX kind of took off because I'm a big nerdcore guy. What up, MC Frontalot? And so I was always like, I want to go to PAX. I want to go to, I want to go to all these things, but I just don't have
the means,
money. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I was always real big into E3 because, I mean, in high school, gaming was like my primary thing. Like,
yeah, I love gaming. I want to see what the new stuff coming out is.
Mm-hmm. And that used to be where it was presented.
Yeah.
And then basically with the PlayStation 4 and like Xbox One era, they kind of started to go down a little bit because it was way easier for PlayStation to maintain their audience or Xbox to maintain theirs or Nintendo to, because if you have a Switch, you're really only looking for Switch news.
Yeah.
So why would I tune into E3 for an announcement when there's a Nintendo Direct every March?
True.
So my speculation is the lack of interest was more of the vendors were less interested in spending money on something that they can internally promote. Yeah. So the money wasn't there for the event.
Yeah, and I mean, E3 came out originally when internet was still pretty slow, so getting information was a lot harder.
Yeah,
and so now things like we actually probably do more announcements in our podcast than E3 would do during a normal con, right?
Over the course of a year.
Yeah.
Because E3 was kind of the banking event for November.
Yeah.
Because historically, November is always the mega releases for video games. That was your Call of Duties. That was any big name did their trailer at E3 to get you ready to buy it in November.
Yeah. Buy it for winter break.
Yeah, just Christmas.
Yeah.
Got to get in on that Christmas,
Which, I mean, they still did do like technology reveals as well, but those have also shifted out. And like, I remember like specific websites or like Think Geek and stuff like that have lost popularity as well. And other cons are popping up. And so I can see why they've, quote unquote, lost interest. When I read the article, I took it as like fans lost interest.
Yeah, which maybe I know another big thing is a big portion of their audience were just doing the online stuff. Because that's partially to COVID. Ever since COVID, less interest in physical appearances and places, and people are more than happy to just watch the trailer online where they were probably going to watch it anyway.
Yeah, and you could save thousands of dollars.
Yeah, because the big appeal of E3 is that it was a big journalist hub.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were any kind of like IGN you would have reps there to go talk with developers and blah, blah, blah. With online events, you just send an email and set up a thing. So that was your chance as an outlet to get the exclusive. There really aren't exclusives anymore. It's whatever they release internally and then speculation and thoughts.
Yeah.
That's kind of what gaming journalism's turned into.
Which, do you think that they're going to try to bring it back next year, or do you think like this was it?
I think this might be it. I know that they're leaving the door open now, at least at the time of recording this. I don't. If interest is waning now, why would it get better if you stop doing it?
I mean, you add another year from COVID, but I don't see it getting better. Like, if you guys could let us know out there in listener land, like let us know if you think it might. You're like, oh no, because like there is nothing like being in person.
Yeah, no, for sure. My thing is like I don't think they can blame COVID anymore. I really don't. I think we're far enough out from COVID. Like Gen Con.
Yeah. It's
still doing excellent record numbers last year, I believe.
No. The 50th was record numbers.
That's true. That's true.
It was elbows to buttholes.
Yeah. Right.
But it was jam-packed.
It wasn't low.
Yeah.
The numbers weren't waning. It was back in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with, I guess Comic-Con had a weird year here in Indianapolis because they were competing with Gen Con way too close.
Yeah, that was a weird, bad timing thing.
Yeah. It was something with city planning or something like that. They had to postpone, and then they were way too close. But still,
engineering nerds versus nerds. You sons of.
But yeah, I just don't see COVID being an excuse anymore.
No.
I really don't. I think we're far enough out. Some people are definitely still concerned.
Yeah.
But when it comes to outwardly going to events and stuff like that, I don't think very many people are not going because they're still worried about COVID.
I mean, some are, but not enough that it's not a year ago. It's not 2 years ago.
It's not enough we had to cancel the event because of COVID.
Yeah.
I really do think it's primarily PlayStation and Nintendo's fault. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, they're bad or whatever.
Yeah,
but
fault sounds like a weird way to put it.
Yeah.
Because, like, it makes sense as, like, a business. They have enough structure that they don't need to have a giant con anymore to tag into. A lot of companies are doing their own things.
Mm-hmm. They were the two biggest dealers, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were the two biggest names that drastically pulled back what they were doing.
Yeah.
And when two of your three, because it was Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, when two of your three biggest really reined back, you're losing a lot of people that are showing up.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, E3, the people that I feel bad for are the indie developers. Because that was their time to shine.
I don't. How come they don't have a rich dad?
Yeah, right. Like, there's so many indie games that are going to lose a bit of spotlight that was not free advertising, but that was their chance to stand out amongst the big hitters.
Well, yeah, you get amongst the big hitters. You get to be if you do a really good game, you get a shine, and then you get lumped into like the articles that are on the huge platforms that are like, hey, check out these things. Here's the top 10 shining moments, and then you had a chance of really getting catapulted into the spotlight.
Yeah, and a lot of that chance is gone, which is unfortunate. I didn't really hear of many indie games going into this one, though. And
it could have been one of those things where, and this is me just speculating, where they start to price out things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where like E3 is like, hey, we're E3.
Yeah.
We're expensive now. And then people are like, well, I can't. And then it's like, well, dip, we did not. We did not.
That's true. Is it just me, or has this felt like a kind of a weird year for video games?
Yeah. I mean,
we're still early.
It's still early. Oh, do you mean like specifically like since January?
Yeah.
It feels a little dry. RE4 was a big highlight.
Yeah. But a remake.
Yeah. And then it's sequels. Not a lot of new IPs are really...
But even sequel-wise, like last year had so many heavy hitters. It had God of War.
Yeah.
It had Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It so many.
Those are mid-year though. Weren't they?
For 2022?
Yeah.
For sure. But we knew about them. Right?
True.
Like, I can't think off the top of my head anything that, like Elden Ring or God of War, or I could name 3 or 4 other games that I was absolutely hype for.
Yeah. Well, you had RE4. That's this year. But then other than that, it's like, it's not going to be Tortuga. It's going to be a lot of games that are next year, which it makes sense if you have a cycle of things and they take a while to develop, it'll happen like that.
Yeah, because my 2 big things for this year are over with. It was Fire Emblem and it was Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else that's been announced this year,
surprise Sonic game.
That's true.
Sonic is dead.
Yeah, yeah. There was a new announcement. The murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. No other details are really known.
Which everyone's going to be really mad when it's just like, hi, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and these are my large group of crows.
Right. Oh, man. So I think we are just kind of in one of those weird in-between years.
Yeah.
Because normally it kind of goes in like 2 or 3 year cycles for real big years where everything is competing. Everybody knows there's going to be another Call of Duty. Everybody knows that probably, I think, Battlefield will whip something out, maybe.
No, I think they took a big hit and are stepping back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they figure their stuff out because what was it, Battlefield 2042 or
something like that? And people are getting mad for the dumbest of reasons.
And it was also just in the vein of, hey, we're going to launch a broken game just bear with us while we fix it and you play it.
I think people are. That also might be why we're getting less announcements, because there's been a ton of pushback on stuff like that, where it's no longer okay to do, where people are being like, hey, you got to knock this off, or we're not buying your stuff anymore.
Oh, I guess Hogwarts Legacy was a big one.
Yeah, but that was just wasn't for us. But yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one. So,
that's it. That was all of them.
Pretty much. Yeah, it feels like such a weird in between year for video games.
Which, I mean, it does happen, but it is weird that there's not like another one for Christmas.
Yeah, because it's going to be the Call of Duty game.
What was the Pokemon game with guns?
The Pokemon game with guns?
Yeah, is that coming out? Remember. That coming out?
I don't know. I fell off the radar, and they haven't really given any updates, so I honestly can't remember.
Yeah. Or that game that people think it's a fake game. That's another one.
Oh, wait, it was a fake game?
No, people think it is fake.
Oh, yeah. That was, but even that is just like a weird niche market.
Yeah.
Like, that's not big video game news.
That's all of the news we have is us going, what was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
It feels like everything has gotten so abstract to the point where you see something you like and then you choose to follow it. And if you do, you know about it. If not, it's lost in the ether.
I mean, music did that back in the day when it became way easier to get access to more nuanced genres. Yeah, singles, nuanced genres, and stuff like that. So it's no longer, you'll talk to people that used to be like, hey, do you like rap, rock, or country? Now it's like, what are you vibing with today?
More of a synthwave kind of.
I know you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm excited for other cons like Gen Con. We're going to be there at Gen Con. If you guys are going to be at Gen Con,
and
find us.
Comic-Con.
And Comic-Con.
Yeah, we'll definitely be at both. Gen Con is going to be here first. But we are very excited about that.
Yeah, hugely excited. I was actually just thinking about the noodles. I brought that up to you the other day.
Yeah, the crappy noodles that are the best because it's hot and it's filled with nerds.
It's hot. I'm dressed like a leather daddy dragon.
Yep.
And I need to get chicken in my belly and get some noodles.
Yeah. And the funny thing is it feels like video games have tapered off the most with these big announcements because, like, as much as we joke around about how quickly they're rotating Magic the Gathering.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not really joking about that. They need to stop making so many sets. Stop it.
But it's still, to a certain degree, hype. Even if it's negative hype, it feels more in the know and the steady releases like what you're used to with games. Because Magic the Gathering been killing it, but also tapering off. Like,
they release good cards that you want to put in your deck, so therefore you buy the next set. Like, they have a structure to it.
A lot of what Wizards has been doing is like, you're not my dad energy. Right? Because it's like, I'm going to play your card game because I love it, but I'm upset.
Yeah.
Like, you have no other option if you like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Same thing with D&D and the whole, what was it called? For being able to play the game and not worry about getting sued.
OGL.
OGL.
Yeah.
They're OGL, but they stepped it back, and the D&D movie's killing it right now.
Yeah.
And everything in the niche nerd world of like gaming is, well, board games, tabletops, cards, seems to be killing it and on the rise, while video games are just steady. Like, they are just the people that play.
Do you know why that is? Companies found out there's huge money in board games and found out they're cheaper to make.
Yeah, much cheaper to make. And a video game is out. If it's multiplayer, you have servers to run. You have this and that and developers and updates.
Yeah.
A board game's out. Whoosh, if you want to update it, here's another book, and that is set in stone. You can't add an update to a book.
You can. It's erratic. Yeah. It's online. Right. But it's like, you want to sell a the DLC for a board game. Here you go. Same game. Looks a little different. There you go. Add a new thing.
Monster of the Week had their update book that added classes and stories and stuff like that. But it's not as intrusive as a lot of video games.
No.
You can't release a broken board game to the same effect as a broken video game.
Not at all, no.
Because a broken board game that comes out is dead.
We're like, do not buy this.
It is dead.
Did you know if you're on this square and roll a 6, the game lights on fire?
Yeah, right. Yeah, somebody literally released Jumanji. But yeah, so it feels like we're just kind of in one of those weird in-between years for video games. So I'm curious if this just kind of floats through, and then normally when the big games would be releasing in November, we get some big announcements for next year.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what happened with Resident Evil and like Fire Emblem and even like Jedi Survivor and stuff like that.
We've also had a lot of games get hype and then fall short. Like Forspoken got dragged and like...
But a lot of games are getting lost in like the sea of delays. Like Dead Island 2 is coming out this year. That's been years in the making.
Yeah.
The new Alien game that is way delayed, years in the making.
Man, if they showed us the gameplay for Dead Island 2 years ago, hype.
So good.
But now it's like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. And
I'll probably play it. I like zombies.
I also think Dying Light took the thunder of that style of game as well.
Yeah.
They're very similar, but different. Like, Dying Light has like the parkour, but the same fighting mechanics. Dead Island is more of your campy zombie fighting game.
Yeah.
So I think Dying Light might have taken the thunder.
I want them to get a Days Gone 2. I think that's sort of in the works and definitely postponed as well, but
yeah,
they just did an update that makes it run good or whatever. It looks nice now.
Yeah. The developer of that game, I don't want to say made a shithead comment. That might not be the best way to put it, but the game, the first Days Gone, wasn't as successful as they hoped.
Yeah.
And when they asked, it was basically a roundabout way of saying customer expectations. Like, he was like, why didn't the game do well? And he was like, well, because of what's going on in gaming. And then he threw the protagonist under the bus because a bunch of more liberal leaning stuff were writing about another game with like a white hero, which that's going to be a small minority of people that are complaining about. But he really latched on and got upset about those comments and customer expectations. So the director of the game kind of fell into a rabbit hole of making excuses rather than when Days Gone released, it was also a buggy mess.
Yeah, I played it after I got patched up. Great.
Yeah.
But that was after it was patched up.
And how many people didn't come back after the patch?
Yeah.
I think the only success story with it patched and got better and hit new record numbers was Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk?
Because the anime.
Oh, the anime, yeah.
Yeah.
What about No Man's Sky, though? Like,
it never...
I guess what we're saying is stop releasing buggy shit. Just stop.
Stop shooting yourself in the foot and being like, I can't walk now.
We want to like your shit.
Yeah, always. But I think that's pretty much going to cover E3 and stuff like that. It's just a weird, frustrating limbo of news for video games. The hype trains are either way blown out of proportion or non-existent, and you're like, oh, cool, that thing's out. I'll check it out.
Which I think is smarter.
Yeah.
I think it's a smarter way to do it.
Always.
Sonic is going to be great. Because I have
sure
no
hope
expectations.
So. Yeah. Well, people haven't really had expectations for Sonic in years. So
That's movies be goofing it up.
Sonic Frontier was a pleasant surprise.
Indeed. If you guys like us, please find us online. Tell your friends. We are trying to do good work here. And we also have a Patreon.
Yeah.
Find it. Thank you.
Stay tuned for part 2.
And welcome back to part 2 of Nerd News, everybody. I'm Tyson Cox.
And I'm Tyler Waltz.
What are we talking about?
A couple things. The goof up top is that we kind of did, not a deep dive, but like at least surface level, better than most, of this Gwyneth Paltrow lawsuit that's going on.
I like that you say that because I've done zero research. You're telling me about it now.
Yeah,
that's
basically. But
my research is, hey, Tyler.
The lunacy in the whole thing is hysterical.
Okay.
So I just wanted to brief recap it because if you don't know about it, it's worth watching some of the trial.
Okay.
Because it feels like a bad movie. It feels like Tommy Wiseau was in charge of directing a legal scene in a movie. That is honestly how it feels. I lost my mind when the defendant's lawyer asked Gwyneth Paltrow if she was friends with Taylor Swift. That was a question on the stand for the record. Are you friends with Taylor Swift?
And that was the prosecuting lawyer?
I believe so. Yeah, it was.
Was he like? Because I would like an autograph if you could.
So there was the defendant, which is this guy that apparently tried to sue Gwyneth Paltrow for damages for a skiing incident.
Okay.
And then she countersued for $1 of damages. So it's really just the epitome of Hollywood pettiness. You know, right?
Yeah, I get it. Someone saw, was like, oh, that was Gwyneth Paltrow. She got a vagina egg.
Yeah.
She got vagina egg money.
Vagina eggs and candles.
Yeah.
Also vagina eggs.
This is a very vagina-based human. They probably have money.
Yeah. His lawyer honestly just sounded like she wanted to be friends with Gwyneth Paltrow and was asking, like, are you friends with Taylor Swift? Which apparently the question about that was because Taylor Swift also had a lawsuit for $1 against somebody.
Oh.
So it was asking if that's where she got the idea, which would be grounds for something. It sounded like Clown World.
Yeah.
But to me, the best part of the whole thing was when one of the lawyers went up and was like, Mrs. Paltrow, you said that you were hit by a large man. And then he asked the guy to stand up, and she goes, would you describe him as a large man? and just destroyed.
Oh yeah, he was like 5'4", right?
Yeah, he's like 5'4",
like Tom Cruise height.
It's like if it were me, I would be like, I'll take the loss because this is just embarrassing on a national level.
That's pretty wild because that means the lawyer was like, "Look at this tiny buddy."
Yeah. Your best defense is, could he hurt you?
You got wrecked up by a tiny buddy.
Yeah, right.
This pocket man.
So it was just, the whole thing was kooky from beginning to end. I just kind of wanted to do a brief shout out because it's so funny. Just watch a highlight reel. It's excellent. It's totally worth the 5 minutes of hilarity that you're going to see.
I don't like between that and the Amber Heard trial that we're probably like one more goof trial away from getting a show that's like Celebrity Court.
Yeah. Well, the Amber Heard thing was a more serious note because the allegations were. Yeah. This was a skiing mishap from, I believe, 2016.
An old-timey skiing goof?
Yeah. It wasn't serious topics. It was some guy money hungry to sue a celebrity.
Yeah. Well, Gwyneth Paltrow got hit in 2016 and she died.
She didn't.
I don't. What?
Because she was still around to be in the Marvel movies. I don't know if you were around for those. But
some of them.
But it essentially boils down to a guy that was caught lying multiple times and seems like he just wanted 15 minutes in the spotlight.
Or $15 million.
Yeah.
I'd take either.
And suing because he knew it was a celebrity and thought he could get money out of it.
Yeah.
And her being petty after that and being like, I'm going to countersue for $1.
And it might be one of those things where it is just countersuing because it then prevents further action or something like that.
That's true. I feel like if it got summed up in the first one, it can't be retried for any reason. So.
I do not trust our legal system. So
yeah, same. The real thing that we wanted to talk about in this segment is the possibility and how quickly we think there might be a Resident Evil 5 remake.
Mm-hmm.
Resident Evil 4, which is the remake that just came out. The original came out in like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So that is right at that line where it's like...
It's still 18 years ago.
Yeah. It's right at that line where the original game you can play and it's still good. It holds up.
Okay.
So the remake was like they remade 2, they remade 3. Those made sense to remake. Those were completely different systems of gameplay.
I'm excited for Resident Evil 9, and then next week after that, Resident Evil 9, the remake.
Yeah, right. But nobody questioned Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake.
No, because
those were different systems. That was the old camera up in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were amazing. Putting those in the modern style of Resident Evil, chef's kiss. So it was like right in and the first modern style Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So it got the fresh new paint. It's gotten great reviews. Almost everybody loves it. There's some review bombing.
Goof bombing?
Yeah, it's the review bombing for not legitimate things.
Yeah.
Like people are bombing it because of some of the cosmetic changes to some of the characters if you get drift.
Oh, okay.
And taking out some of the outdated dialogue lines.
I did read a pretty great Steam review.
Okay.
And it was someone gave it a 1 star or like a 1 out of 10 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they listed just beat by beat by beat by beat by beat by beat by beat. It was like when Ashley falls, no longer sees panties.
Yeah.
When climbing up ladder, can no longer see Ashley's panties. Yeah. When doing this, like no longer comedic goof falls back, can't see Ashley's panties. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And even if it is a goof review, we're like, this is bullshit, I can't see that. The fact that you're like, bop, 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 I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like how closely attention you're paying to that.
It's upsetting, for sure. You can tell when those reviews are fake, though. That might just be a creepy dude. If you can list timestamps, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, so that's what I'm saying is, even if it's a goof review, that guy
did his research.
Too many receipts. Too many receipts on this to not be.
And then a lot of the dialogue that were goofy and outdated got taken out, like when Luis meets the president's daughter for the first time and says that she was installed with ballistics, and it zooms and it pans up to the chesticle area.
Yeah.
Right?
That is weird.
Yep. Got removed.
Child.
She also looked young in the original. She looks like a 15-year-old.
All 38 pixels of her look too young.
Right. But in the original one, she was 19 because you see a thing with her birth date on it.
You know,
but
honestly,
like
to me, still a child.
Absolutely. 100%.
Come at me when you have a mortgage.
The equally as creepy 10 out of 10 reviews where they were like, glad Ashley is like mature, and it's like, you're not better. You are not any better. you're hovering that line of I don't like you. And I'm not even. You're not even hovering the line. I don't like you.
You're white, like they're white knighting while also being horny creepy.
Yeah.
That's
there's
weird.
a lot of that too.
Poppy from League of Legends.
I don't know League of Legends.
Perfect.
That meant nothing to me.
Good. That was a good riff. Really softballed that and really doofed it.
But so they added a small little sequence to the end of Resident Evil 4 that hints at Resident Evil 5.
Was it a CEO just being like, my wallet need more money?
Maybe.
Hungry wallet.
So the part that they added in hinted to Resident Evil 5. So people are like, does that mean it is confirmed that Resident Evil 5 is getting remade? Or it's way more modern. Like, it doesn't need a remake because you can still just buy it.
Is it VR?
Is Resident Evil 5? No,
yeah.
It is not VR.
That might be the thing. We're like, hey, we're going to redo it. You can do a VR. We're going to add some stuff. We're going to clean some stuff up. I think it is 16 years old. You know, it's old enough to fix up.
Yeah, it is. For Resident Evil 4. I think
5.
Resident Evil 5 was like 4 or 5 years after Resident Evil 4.
Oh, yeah, that's still 10 years. Now, yeah, we are getting in that weird
time
frame where, yeah, just do 7. Just skip 5, do 7. Just really make people go, wait, what?
Yeah, that would. Oh god, that would be so funny. Could you imagine the news articles like we're announcing the new remake? Oh, cool, they're remaking Resident Evil 5.
That'd be great. Yeah.
No, Village.
What? Yeah, mobile. Hang on. But on console. Yeah. Are you guys doing a GTA?
Yeah, right.
You GTAing me, bro? Well, we get you on.
Oh man. So I honestly would like a Resident Evil 5 remake. I think my personal opinion is that they do 5 and stop with the remakes.
Are there achievements
for Resident Evil 5? Yes.
Okay.
Because Resident Evil 5 came out right at the cusp of the PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Okay.
So it's still only one console generation away.
Yeah. But that's still big. I mean, especially when we finally figure out how to use the current technology.
Yeah. I mean, if The Last of Us 1 gets 3 remasters,
it's more like 2.5 remasters.
Yeah.
There was we had a show that did well. Put it out again.
Right.
What are we changing? We're making it worse.
The reason that I think that they should remake the 5th one is because it still felt very Resident Evil 4 with better graphics.
Okay.
But it was the first and only of 2 co-op Resident Evils.
Oh, that would be good. So that was 3 and 5?
No, 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
And 6 is pretty notoriously bad. It was what really turned people away from Resident Evil for a long time.
Till 7.
Well, yeah, but 7 was a risk because Resident Evil 6 was received so bad that they were thinking about not doing any more Resident Evil. And then they were like, we're going to gamble it on this brand new style and went with the horror aspect.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil 7 saved Resident Evil. Because Resident Evil 6 was rough and not well received in the slightest.
8 was good. They had a big lady that stepped on you.
Well, 8 followed the new formula.
Yeah.
Because like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 was the single camera shots. Very horror-esque. 4 started the third-person shooter, more action style. Resident Evil 7. So this is like the 3rd generation of Resident Evil style games.
What if they did Resident Evil 5 trading card game?
I think Resident Evil actually did have a trading card game.
No!
But it was a Game Boy game.
What is happening?
Yeah. So I do think if they gave the modern shooter what the remakes have done with Resident Evil 5 as a co-op game, it could be amazing.
Okay.
Especially because I personally think the improvements to the story update in Resident Evil 4 made the story better from the original. So if they did that, made the Resident Evil 5 story, which was just kind of it was more of just action zombie game.
House of the Dead style, where you just run around, shoot stuff?
It pretty much felt that way. It was more Call of Duty than it was Resident Evil.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. If they gave it the Resident Evil 4 spin and story tweaks and worked out the rough edges, I think a co-op Resident Evil 5 with the new style would be killer. I think it would be so great.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think out there.
Is it too soon for a remake on Resident Evil 5?
Is it too soon?
Or let's really hashtag Resident Evil 7 remake.
Really? Yeah, skip 6.
Get that out there.
Yeah. No, Village. Remake Village. Right now.
Right now.
Anyways, guys, that's going to be our podcast for the week.
Thank you for checking us out. We are now doing just a quick shout out, a new review series. The first one comes out the day before this releases. So check out me covering Resident Evil 4, what I liked, some things I didn't quite like, and it's a new series that we're doing, so check that out.
I watched it. He did a good job.
I did my best.
It surprised us all.
Yeah. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for checking out Nerd News. We don't have advertising, so you are the advertising. Now, if you liked it, go ahead and tell a friend, like, comment, share, subscribe, or even leave a review on Apple. Every little bit helps. It's insane. You guys have no idea how much your support means to us. And if you want to do a little bit more, we have launched our Patreon. So if you would support us financially, go check out our Patreon. All our content is free, but we do have rewards at every tier. So I just want to say thank you all again, and we'll see you next time.